The 7 disciplines of relationship marketing. That is the topic of the hour. Greetings, my fellow Earthlings. Welcome to the live. Now, this particular series is called Impact 2.0, where we feature some kick-ass leaders making a dent in the universe in their own special way. Stick around till the end, and I promise you that you will get away with at least one, if not more, practical yet scrumptious takeaways from each of these live sessions, like an ice cream sundae topped with heavy cream and melted dark chocolate and a dash of gold dust. But most importantly, if you turn up live, you'll get a chance to engage in conversation and ask live questions with the guest. Now, my today's guest believes that a central defining moment happens when we discover our purpose, missions, values, and vision for what we aspire to become and how we can change the world. He's an Emmy-nominated producer, president and creative director of Spirit Media, and author of the book 7 Disciplines of Relationship Marketing, or 7DRM. In 1999, he had a death experience that challenged his worldview and approach to communication and marketing. Today, he is a recognized authority, keynote speaker, and coach of the 7DRM strategy, which will be the focus of our convo today. So will you please put your virtual hands together to welcome my fantabulous guest, Bill Dolan.
Hi, Amber.
Hey, Bill. How are you?
I am great. It's so exciting to be here with you today and to do this live presentation. We don't do a lot of live ones, but I knew you would raise the bar today.
Well, I'm so glad that you could make it and we could make the live happen. Let's say hello to the peeps already on the live with us. Kaleem, Paul, Catherine, thank you for joining us. Catherine goes, what's Catherine saying? Scrumptious. I need more of this on LinkedIn. Yes, hopefully we will have lots more happy. I've been sort of taking a break from these lives. I think it's like it's a juggling act. I'm not as disciplined as I should be. Hello, Paul. I think, Bill, you probably know some of these people. If you don't, I'm sure you're going to know.
I think both of you, both of us have a lot of incredible friends on LinkedIn for sure.
Yeah.
So it's great to see some faces, some friendly faces popping up. Great to see you. And I must admit, Amber, you really did set the bar by talking about this chocolate sundae they're going to get. So I'm thinking, man, I got to deliver the sprinkles for you today.
Yeah, and it's the perfect weather for it as well, right? 31 degrees where I am, and where you are, it's pretty warm as well. So
that's going to be about 80 degrees Fahrenheit today here on the West Coast. So,
so we're all going to be melting.
Yeah, it'll be great.
It'll be great. All right. Now, before we get into the ice cream and waffles of this conversation, we are going to start off the show with a quick fire round. Are you ready, Bill?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Question number 1. What is the most regrettable fashion style you've ever worn?
I would probably have to say my mullet and goatee phase. That was a hideous phase for which I'm thankful there are a few pictures.
I was going to say, you should have brought some.
Oh man, I seriously thought about it, but I thought it would completely disrupt. Everybody would like, what? Yeah, it was crazy.
I can't imagine you in a mullet, but we've all been through some disastrous fashion styles in our youth, especially. All right, what can you do today that you were not capable of a year ago?
I would say there's a few things, but probably the number one thing is I feel like I am way more emotionally intelligent than I was even a year ago. And the idea that every day I focus on being present. And I now have, with my family, I've got 5 kids, and they in the past had said, Dad, you're always thinking about here. And it's because I was constantly thinking about the next thing. And today, I think partially due to both my death experience, but really COVID was great. I'm thoughtful and more present than I was a year ago, and excited about even being more so going forward.
Yeah. That's wonderful, we'll talk more about that during the show. But I think that's been COVID in hindsight. Has brought its positives out in all of us as well, and we'll talk about it later in the show. Let's continue with the quick fire session, and let's end with, what is your greatest hope and biggest fear?
Well, my greatest hope is that whatever we do with our life, even whether it's this conversation, that it will have a positive impact on the lives of those that watch it. Lasting difference, that people could take a nugget away and say, boom, this changed me. That is truly the desire of my heart. And the opposite is true, that if you'd say, what would be my biggest regret or my biggest fear? That somehow I burn a lot of energy breathing and talking and sucking up resources without making a significant difference in the world. That would definitely be one of my greatest fears.
I mean, and again, I think COVID has hopefully made us realize that for a lot of us, I think that has become the biggest fear. Going into lockdown and what the entire world went through.
Yeah.
But this marks the end of this round. Bill, how did it go? What do you think?
Well, I thought that was great. I thought that was great. I love the pepperish type of bang, 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 bang. And
Well,
I think
you were the expert. I'm like this tiny little novice.
Oh, no.
So I mean, I'm so glad to have you here. Paul's saying not only transforms relationships with your clients, but transform your culture from the inside out. He's talking about yeah.
Very kind, Paul. Thank you.
Welcome, Jean. Catherine saying, I like the game show. Thank you, Catherine. I really appreciate it. Yes, just trying to, not sound boring. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, it's keeping the energy up. And depending upon what time zone you're watching, we want you to know that, there's good stuff happening.
Yeah. So, Bill, let's start with, imagine that I'm holding a pair of boxing gloves. Could you take these gloves and smash for me, and not my face, please, but some kind of myth around marketing or branding, a bogus strategy, and set the record straight once and for all?
Well, yeah, probably one of the biggest things. And by the way, thank you for the boxing gloves, because I grew up boxing. My family, classic Irish family, my first toys were boxing gloves. So that's just the way it is. And so, yeah, I get it completely. And one of the things we have to battle is the belief that good marketing is really about manipulation. That marketing is about selling something for self-interest. That marketing is about pushing and shoving people into a corner that causes them to obey your desires. And what we say at our agency here is that marketing really is about telling the truth exceptionally well. And it aligns with the 7 disciplines in that when you really recognize not only what your purpose is and what you're supposed to be doing and where you're called to be, part of that is recognizing that we have a unique opportunity to serve. And part of serving is to be able to give people the resources they need to make intelligent decisions, give them the resources to help solve their problems, to provide for transformation, the outcomes they want. And so marketing is about serving, and sharing in a way that's intelligent, caring, thoughtful, but it is not manipulative.
Yeah, I love that, and it's about changing that mindset from that marketing is about capturing leads, reaching as many people as we can, to thinking about how can we serve people better, whoever we are trying to serve, that a particular group of people, how can we serve them better? This is a total mindset change. It's not something small we're talking about. It's a completely different way of thinking, because because those who are used to thinking about marketing in a certain way, like I said, how many leads can I get today or this month or week? how many conversions can I get, to this, that how can I serve people, or how can we serve people better with our product or service or brand. It's what do you think? What is it an easy changeover? What do people need to do to make that switch, or even to start thinking in that way?
Well, it's not an easy switchover.
Mm.
And partly it's because we live in a world that, I mean, we, on the average, especially in developed nations where marketing is everywhere and brands are everywhere, a lot of scientists estimate that we receive 5,000 to 10,000 brand impressions a day.
Mm.
And this multiple things. Of course, most of it goes into our subconscious.
Oh.
But here's the tragedy, is that most marketing is based upon the idea that you are inadequate unless you buy my product.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so the idea that we've had that modeled to us over and over again. Now, granted, there's great marketing, and you're right about the other things. Do we need to build brands? Yes, that's a part of good marketing. Do we need to generate leads and relationships? Yeah, that's a good part of
Yeah.
marketing. But when the metrics around our win versus the client's win is out of balance,
Yeah.
that's when it's broken. And we could talk for the next hour and talk about why it's so important to serve others, why
Yeah.
it's so important to love and care and honor people. In fact, there's an old saying that says people will only do business with people they know, like, and trust. I changed that to know, love, and trust.
Oh, I
Guess
like
what?
that.
It's not a one-way street.
Yeah.
Real marketing at its heart gets to our humanity. And that means I'm not just out there trying to get people to know, love, and trust me.
Mm.
It means I have to start by knowing and loving and trusting the people I get to serve.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
when you change that mindset, and it really starts with, it's a heart thing.
Mm.
It's a heart thing.
Mm.
This says, how can I make sure that my business, my marketing is a reflection of what I really want to be as the best version of myself to others? That's where the transformation takes place.
Mm.
And then, of course, you have to execute it, and you have to fight the battle every day of those that say you need to manipulate and you need to sell. And the bell you ring is about you chalking up your profits.
Mm.
Look, I want to be profitable.
Mm.
I want to make sure that the bell I ring is in the life and the heart of the people I get to serve. That we deliver the transformation, we deliver the outcomes. And it's not just about money, it's about relationship and the difference we can make in the world. And that's where marketing becomes incredibly powerful.
I love that. And I think Paul said something like, it's about serving, finding those people you called to serve and having a profound impact on their lives. He's quoting me about. But I mean, some people may say, okay, it's easier said than done, Bill, right? Especially when you're leading a big, huge B2B organization, right? And the founder is just one person, and then, they may have thousands underneath working. What is the path that they need to take, or think about it in the way that you've been talking about marketing, rather than talking about, I've got to report to the investors, we got to make this much revenue, and this much leads need to come in? Like, how do we change the conversation for B2B organizations?
Well, that's really at the heart of the 7 disciplines, and it starts with leadership. It's not just a matter of, I'm going to implement this program and process and check boxes. It really starts with leadership. And when we look at some of the great leaders of all time, their marketing didn't look so much like marketing. Really, their marketing looked like the framework for movements. And it started with that heart thing. And so one of the things we teach in the 7 disciplines is the very first thing is what we call the discipline of mission. And there's 5 elements of it that are foundational for people to form what I encourage every person in every organization to have. And that is their own mission manifesto. And the mission manifesto is simply this. And look, you're right, Amber. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Because sometimes searching your own soul in the face of market pressures is hard. And most of us who are busy running, especially, and I don't mean to be sexist, but I think a lot of guys do this.
Hmm.
I can say this for the way I was raised. We
Hmm.
don't want to be vulnerable. We
Hmm.
don't want to be exposed. We don't want to be transparent. We
Hmm.
just want to, like earlier on, you gave me the boxing gloves. We never take them off.
Hmm.
And in
Yeah.
fact, what we do with those big gloves is we try to put shields on us,
Cheers on.
and we just go out there and
Yeah.
do our
Punching,
thing,
punching.
you
Yeah.
know. But the idea of being able to get in touch with your purpose,
Hmm.
and we have processes that we teach about finding your authentic purpose, not only as an individual, but as an organization.
Hmm.
And then from there, not just having one mission,
Hmm.
having multiple missions. Look at it as like almost like warfare. And it
Right.
really is. If you want to win the war, there's a bunch of things you need to do to be successful.
Hmm.
So we encourage people to outline what are the multiple missions that are necessary in order and priority to
Hmm.
execute for the fulfillment of that purpose.
Yes.
And then of course, and we saw, I think Paul popped it up there too, and Steve Jobs mentioned it.
Yeah.
The next thing is values. What is the framework that guides you
Yeah.
and it always keeps you in a line to make sure you're not compromising your values, you're living your values. And then of course, vision. And we teach in our program about how to be able to have what we call the vision, like the puzzle box picture of a vision.
Yeah.
In other words, this. You hear people talk about vision,
Yeah.
you know, and you've worked, I know, with a lot of businesses, and people paint these. In fact, they don't paint much. They give you a narrative.
Hmm.
And our mind does not think in narrative. Our words get converted to pictures that
Hmm.
get converted to feelings that then process into our front cortex where it gets a language. There's
Hmm.
a process.
Hmm.
And so a great vision is so clear that you can close your eyes and you can see it.
Yeah. Hmm.
And not only for you, but for the people in your team,
Team.
your clients, your customers, your employees, your team members. And so when you're able to create a vision, and it's like a puzzle box. When you put together puzzles as a kid, probably I did, I did this. I always look at the front of the box.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And why is that? Because life is going to throw you hundreds of puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
And because most of them are trying to get into your wallet,
Hmm.
they're saying, oh, you need my puzzle piece. You need my puzzle piece.
Hmm.
And when you've got clarity of vision, it gives you the freedom to discern
Hmm.
that puzzle piece I need.
Hmm.
That piece I don't need.
Yeah. It doesn't belong.
Corners. That's the frame. And when you get that in front of you, it allows everybody to row the same direction and to be able to put off those distractions. I see more businesses suffering,
Hmm.
not because of lack of market opportunity,
Hmm.
but sheer distraction within their own organization.
Hmm.
And the clarity that comes through that naturally leads into goals.
Yeah.
But your goals are not just, hey, I want to do this. Every goal is mission driven.
Hmm.
It's a mission that now has a responsibility, a timeline, and accountability to accomplish.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you put that mission manifesto together, it's like building a building. You know how you build a building and you see how they build the foundation and then it goes up and goes up? Mission manifestos are like building the foundation.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not fun. You're going to do a lot of digging. But that's where we help people walk through that process, because if you don't build on a firm foundation, you're just sticking stuff
Hmm.
and pulling stuff from here, and you're robbing yourself from the greatness that you could experience and your business could experience.
Yeah, yeah. I love your puzzle analogy. In fact, many in the comment section, Catherine, Jean, they're all saying they love your puzzle box analogy, and the way you've put it together, that you're going to have a lot of things coming your way, a lot of distractions coming your way, which are puzzle pieces, as you said in your analogy. And so if you have the vision, the picture in front of you, you're then able to assess, okay, does it belong to my vision or not? Otherwise, you're just going to be putting pieces together which do not belong together. So I love that analogy because it makes it easier for us to process how to bring a vision together. People are loving this, Bill.
Well, let me add something. Because look, when I was a kid, we probably had a bunch of puzzles. I remember there was a puzzle shelf,
Yeah.
and I'd love to say, oh, I'm the most ordered child. I put everything back together. No, I didn't. And a lot of times I would mix up the puzzle pieces. And have you ever been in that place where you put a puzzle piece that did not belong in that spot? And you're basically pushing it with your thumb, and you're trying to get it in, and the edges are curling a little bit. No, I know this goes in here.
Yeah.
And tell me if that doesn't look like a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
Pushing those pieces. I know it goes here. And look, if you're in a place where you're busy pushing a piece into a puzzle and the edges are curling and it's not looking pretty and the colors aren't lining up, guess what? It's the wrong piece.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the wrong piece. It's okay to be able to say, as much as we want the puzzle together, it's more important to have the right pieces. It really is.
And would you say, in your opinion, this is because they have not done enough introspection? Their vision is not clear, and that's why they're confused?
Well, I think that's a big piece of it, is that we live in a world where everybody wants to tell you what your vision is, what your purpose is, what your missions are. And in many cases, without doing that reflection, that really heart deep work about yourself and your company, we borrow visions and we borrow purposes. Oh, I like that. I mean, you look at some of the heroes of the 20th century who built big businesses. Like we talk about Steve Jobs, or we talk about Jeff Bezos, or what. Now, granted, do these people also get criticism? Of course. But do we often look at them and secretly go, if I could be like? And when we do that, there's a point of inspiration that we can draw from leaders. That's great. But there's also a danger of robbing ideas that are no longer a product of inspiration, but we're trying to annex them to our lives. And that's not what it's about. It's recognize that inside you already is greatness, the seeds of greatness that you have to be able to believe in without annexing someone else's greatness. Use them as a springboard of inspiration, but use it to water the greatness inside you and cultivate that field. And quit stealing. And there's a breakthrough that happens when you can actually start building from that foundation.
Yeah, I love that, because it I think it's very common, and a lot of us, especially those who are starting out in the business world, get confused about all of this, thinking maybe if we just borrow, like you said, borrow their vision, borrow their goals, or then they've done it. They're doing very well with it, so hopefully we can too. But we are actually missing a very important piece, as you said, that okay, you can take them as inspiration, but they may not be relevant to you as an individual or as a business. And I think a lot of people miss out on this because they feel that they've got to get this going, right? They've got to get this going. It's all about money in the beginning. It's all about revenue. It's about making ourselves look good superficially, and making us look good in terms of if you have investors in the business and stuff. But how this is what I wanted to find out, actually, Bill, from you, especially in organization, be it startups who have have got investors on board, or the larger B2B organizations with investors on board. How do we get a vision across to them, to our investors, or to other board members who may not be thinking the same way because they're more concerned about how much they're going to get back? Like, how do we convey that vision across to them?
Well, again, it comes down to leadership. And I'm on several boards, so I understand that piece of it, that a board, ideally a good board, recognizes, I have responsibility to shareholders, I have responsibility to clients, I have responsibilities to the customers, responsibility to my employees. So there's a big picture that ideally a good board should be thinking those terms. Now, granted, some of them come from different perspectives. I'm on boards where you have guys that all they do is they eat and breathe numbers.
Hmm.
I'm often on boards to talk about vision and marketing and really the brand culture of an organization.
Hmm.
And so it takes a leader to constantly hold that stake in the sand that says, and it's built on values, that says this is a no, uh, there's no compromise on this.
Hmm.
This is a no compromise issue, or these are no compromise values that we have.
Yeah.
And when you go into a board meeting, of course, we need businesses are designed to be profitable,
Hmm.
and they should be, but they should be profitable for all the right reasons.
Hmm.
And what I encourage businesses, especially those that I'm associated with, is recognize that those businesses are not just made of numbers, they're made of people. People at all levels in the organization and outside the organization we serve.
Hmm.
And if there's anything I carry from some of the life experiences I've had, it's that at the end of the day, when we're taking our last breath, will we want to have been successful in business? Of course.
Hmm.
But more important, will we have wanted to be successful in making a difference in the lives of others?
Hmm.
And I don't believe those are competing values.
Yeah.
They don't have to compete.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I love that because I think as maybe to an immature eye, that's how we may see it, that they may be competing values, and that's why you have to choose one over the other.
Yeah.
But I guess experience may tell you otherwise, as we have learned from COVID, going into lockdown and how lives changed for so many. That what's more important in life is are we serving the right people in the right way, or are we just getting through life? What has been your experience, Bill, in during COVID, post COVID, with you dealing with your customers, clients? What changes have you seen?
Well, it's interesting. Now, granted, in addition to writing the book, The Seven Disciplines,
Yeah.
and the coaching that I'm doing around that, um, I also have a creative agency, Spirit Media. So I'm in one of our studios here, and I was telling my team just the other day that I said, on top of being a master of your craft
Hmm.
and delivering excellence and delivering the outcomes and transformation our clients need, know that probably 50% of your work is going to be that of a psychotherapist. It's recognizing that everybody we work with, oddly enough, are human,
Hmm.
and they have feelings, and they have families, and they have circumstances that, as I often say, that look, everybody is either about to walk into a tragedy,
Hmm.
is experiencing tragedy, or is coming out of tragedy.
Hmm.
So if you recognize and look in the eyes, like I mentioned earlier about being present,
Hmm.
it means that I don't just look at people's wallets.
Hmm.
I realize I'm there to serve their hearts,
Hmm.
and to recognize that sometimes they have deeper needs. Like on the invoice, it might say, look, we produce this television show. But guess what? It's not on the invoice that needs to be there.
Hmm.
It's we provided peace.
Hmm.
We brought peace to that client in a time of need, at a time when they might be going through stuff, at a time that they needed to offload things. And we needed to deliver our expertise along with compassion and strategy
Hmm.
and caring and creativity.
Hmm.
It's a bundle that comes together. And that's why, I love my team so much, is that even though sometimes it's hard,
Hmm.
and it's probably the most exhausting part,
Hmm.
is realizing that, man, we have to deliver things, but I have to think about what this person is experiencing
Hmm.
and to serve them at their deepest need. Um, that's where relationships become so powerful.
Hmm.
And I think enough people just had the crud beat out of them with COVID
Hmm. Hmm.
that they're saying, you know what? Relationships are important. My values are important. What I want to do with the rest of my life is important. I'm not going to just jump on the rat race because someone told me to.
Yeah.
I want to do something because it makes me happy, or it's meaningful, or I feel like this is my calling.
Hmm.
And to have that pause and to be able to deliver that and to be that support system as we're doing business,
Hmm.
one of the most, it's exhausting,
Hmm.
but the most rewarding aspect about what we get to do and what any business can do.
Hmm. Yeah, that's. I mean, I think you're spot on with the relationship marketing part. That uh, I think I don't know why. Maybe at some point, marketing sort of lost its way. In the
Yeah.
past, I don't know if with the coming of all the social media platforms, and I guess we were going through a learning experience. So much technology advanced, so much, so many platforms came, and then it became all about likes, hearts, and all of those things. And now, as the platforms are maturing, as I guess as marketers or business owners we are maturing, we understand that it's about building those relationships on, be it on those platforms, be it virtually, and not just about how many followers I've got, or how many comments or likes or hearts have I got, but a lot of hard work goes into building those relations. This is not a quick fix, isn't that right, Bill? Like
Right.
this, like you have to have the right intentions first of all,
Mhm.
the intentions to make or build on those relationships, and then put in the time to make it work. It
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I say it bluntly in my book. I think, a lot of books come out and say, look, 90 days to easy profits,
Hmm,
100 days and you're going to be 7 million or 10x your business.
hmm,
Look, all due respect to the 10xers and the whatever, there's a lot of great ways to grow your business.
yeah.
But if you really want to develop something, and I call it brand integrity,
Hmm,
and it's the 360-degree model, that great marketing isn't like you just put a couple speakers on the front porch and blow it out. We're
yeah.
buy from me, we're the best.
Yeah.
No, great marketing is a 360-degree process that says it's about who I am, and it's about to your employees, to your team members, to your contractors, to your partners, to your investors. And it's to live that love and live those values and live that purpose all the way around. And it's important to note, by the way, the word integrity, we get it from the same root that we get the word integer. In other
Yeah.
words, it's a whole number.
Whole number.
So
Yeah.
integrity is about being whole and being complete, not two-faced.
Hmm.
So when you really get down to that, who you are, what you stand for, what you believe,
Yeah.
and the people you're called to serve, it really is a game changer. It's
Yeah.
totally a game changer.
Yeah, yeah, and I do believe, I sincerely do believe that hopefully, as we come out of this, COVID situation and post lockdown world, that if nothing else, that we have learned this, that what's most valuable to us, and how can we create better products and services to serve our people better. If nothing else, if we don't get nothing else out of this, that we, all of us, as a humanity, have learned this lesson, so that not only that, I guess, so that we continue to strive to become a better person individually, but also so that we bring that better person to our place of work, to our business, and any, with our families and friends as well.
Yeah. And I'll just give one little tip there.
Yeah,
The one thing that COVID, well, many things, but
yeah.
one thing I'll point out that COVID did is it put a big pause button on a lot of activities.
Mm,
And because of that pause button, we live in a world, and I believe with all my heart that all of us desperately want to love and be loved. And because of that, we're constantly pursuing things that we believe will cause people to love us. And
mm,
even more so, will cause us to be able to look in the mirror and believe that we're worthy to be loved.
mm,
And one of these secret value things, like you mentioned, hearts and likes and whatever, but also is busyness. because we think that if you're valuable if you're busy.
Hmm.
So we shove all kinds of stuff into our calendar.
Hmm.
Like, oh, I'm busy, I'm okay, I got to do this. This is busy. And COVID made us pause
Hmm.
and made us reevaluate some of our values. And this is one of those opportunities, and I pray this happens, that
Hmm.
we won't just bounce back
Yeah.
this false narrative that says if you're busy, you're valuable,
Hmm.
but that people will be able to reflect and recognize that they are valuable,
Hmm.
that every human being is worthy to be loved and honored and respected. And that's you.
Hmm.
You can look in the mirror and not have to pursue false value systems that would cause you and rob you
Hmm.
of recognizing not only your own worth, but
Hmm.
then to be able to have the time to invest in the worth and the lives of others.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's one of the reasons why people struggle with relationships, because they take time. But you can make time if
Yeah.
you get rid of all the garbage
Yeah.
and focus on those things that really, really matter to you.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I love that. I think it was just today I was reading Russell Brunson shared this post on his LinkedIn profile about like what are we willing to cut off the garbage, get rid of from our
Right.
life. Like he was talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
maybe Netflix streaming to maybe 30 minutes of exercise outside, outdoors. Um,
Right.
and, and it's about that, you know, like what you said, introspection and the mindset change and making I guess pausing to realize, like you said, that what's garbage in our life that doesn't need to continue, and what can we replace it with? I think that's what his post was about. Like, what can we replace the garbage in our lives with? And that takes you know, thinking. Like you need to pause and
Right.
think.
Right.
To pause and think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to come in a manual, or can it come in a manual?
Well, no, I mean, that's the thing. You hit the nail on the head that you're going to have to be deliberate. That great relationships,
Yeah.
great transformation in your life and the lives of others has to be deliberate.
Mm,
Change will happen, but profound change is a product of reflection over reaction. We
yeah.
live in a world of reaction, bum, 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 bum. But that
Yeah.
pause to reflect and to be able to respond deliberately is a game changer.
Yeah.
We've had the big pause. Don't lose that moment. Savor that moment. And know that, in fact, sometimes I describe, for all of us who've traveled, we've been through the airport.
Yeah.
And when you've got those people movers and you see people running, on one path with their luggage, boom, 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 they got to make their flight. But you've timed it well and you're on the people mover. And for every step you take, it's like double what they're doing.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's what it's like when you start living
Yes.
purposefully.
Yeah.
It's you move on that people mover, and
Hmm.
instead of letting your life be driven by frenetic activity,
Yeah.
always running to catch the next flight,
Yeah.
you're walking in fluidity
Hmm.
because you're walking on a path that's multiplied by purpose.
Hmm. Hmm.
It really is a game changer, and it's fun. Just picture yourself on that path, taking that breath and taking that step, but watching the productivity and the multiplication that happens through deliberate, thoughtful, and purposeful action as an individual and a business.
Yeah. I love that, and I think intention is a very big part of it. To have uh, to to have the intention to do the right thing, right? I think David Breyer yesterday shared a post about whatever you're doing, even if you're frying eggs in a restaurant, if that's your job, but
Yeah.
you do it so well that people go, wow, that's the best fried egg I've ever had, right? And it's about having that intention that whatever I'm doing, I want to serve in the best way possible, because we can always do it many different ways as well, and over time it's not going to result into much. as we know from our
Right.
experiences. We will lose customers, we will lose, or we will, the brand integrity will not be there, right? Which you spoke about. It builds from that having the right intention
Mhm.
to make the right things happen, not just for yourself, but for the people you work with, the clients you work with, the team that you work with. So I have to ask you, Bill. Like, I mean, all these. I mean, you sound like a really really wise person, and everybody's listening to you, and I'm loving everything you're saying. Yeah, were you always like this? Like you always knew the best thing to do. You always knew the right thing to do.
No, no, no. In fact, a lot of times I say, look, I've been working in the television and media industry and marketing industry for decades. And I honestly tell a lot of my clients, look, I don't come to the table because I know all the answers,
Hmm,
but in the lawn of life, I know where not to step because I have made every mistake you can make. I
hmm,
seriously have. And I still continue to make mistakes, but everyone is a learning experience. But the breakthrough for me, and I say really big breakthrough for me, was 1999, January 20th, 1999. It's a defining moment because I was at a point where I was running, running, running. Our agency was growing. I was traveling all over the world doing shows and
hmm,
doing a lot of touring events with big names and celebrities and all that stuff. And I really thought that I had it made. The
hmm,
truth was is that with all my running and
hmm,
me chasing success, I was becoming an absentee husband and an absentee father. I'd come home and I was there for the birthdays and all the special things and bring presents and bring checks and money and all that. But you know what? I was not present,
present.
really present
Hmm,
for my kids or my wife. And it was kind of gnawing at me. I didn't, a lot of us are so busy, we're oblivious to what's really going on.
hmm,
And so, I had an opportunity to produce a documentary project,
hmm,
and a company in Nashville said, "Look, we want to distribute your product. Get to Nashville. We'll write you a big check, we're going to start this big distribution process." I thought, this is fabulous.
hmm,
That morning, I hopped on a plane to Nashville with my best friend, Timothy Greenidge, one of the greatest gospel singers in the world.
hmm.
And I was thinking, today, my life is going to change. My life is going to change. To me, I thought it was going to change because I was going to get a big check. And I was going to get this big deal. And I got on the plane about 20 minutes into the flight. I
Yeah,
started to feel sick.
yeah.
And I couldn't put my finger on it. But um, I turned to Timothy as if things were closing in. I turned to Timothy and said, something's not right.
Hmm.
And that's the last thing I said. And my eyes rolled back in my head and my arms just flopped by my side and my heart stopped.
Wow.
And I was very fortunate that Timothy was there
Hmm.
to resuscitate me, and we did an emergency landing. I was diagnosed with malignant neurocardiogenic syncope, which
Right.
means my brain and my heart get out of sync. And the
Right.
only way, they don't know what caused it, the only way they can prevent it from happening again is they give you a pacemaker.
Right.
And so 6 times a day, now my pacemaker intervenes to keep my heart from stopping.
Right.
And two things out of that. Number one, I had a very profound after death experience
Hmm.
that changed my spirituality, my view of God and the divine and everything. Blew apart my paradigms.
Hmm.
And I wish everybody could die and come back
Hmm.
because it would change how you live. But the other thing is that with this pacemaker, in fact, I have my first pacemaker here, right
Wow.
there. That little guy right there. I'm on my second one now. Knowing that every day that I wake up is a gift.
Gift. Hmm.
And every night that I go to bed, I realize I just appreciated the benefit, another precious day on this earth.
Hmm.
It, it makes me realize with such a sense of both excitement and reverence that if I've been given this gift to breathe and to speak, how will I use that gift to make an impact on others?
Hmm.
And I say that I get a little choked up because this is the thing. Every one of us got up this morning.
Hmm.
And I personally believe that the breath we take is something we didn't earn or deserve.
Hmm.
I think it's a precious gift. And to take that gift, and even if you're listening or you're watching this, and just take a breath and realize what that breath is. Think about now, how are you going to use that breath today to make a difference in the lives of others? And when you start just recognizing, being grateful and thankful and thoughtful and deliberate, that is a game changer because it opens your world to maybe helping you be more present,
Hmm.
helping you be more caring, helping you be more thoughtful, and definitely giving people more grace because people are going through tough times
Hmm.
and hurting people
Hmm.
hurt other people.
Hmm.
But healing people have the opportunity to bring healing to others.
Hmm.
And that's the desire of my heart, is whether it's in your business, your relationships, your life. If we can bring wholeness through the 7 disciplines and through being deliberate about why we're here, who we're called to serve, and the difference we can make in the world, we're no longer just talking about marketing.
Hmm.
We're no longer talking about business. Every one of us has the power to be transformed into a world changer.
Hmm.
And it starts with changing your own world.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then we can bring that gift to others.
I mean, Bill, it's so inspiring to hear your story. And I mean, every time we've chatted online or whatever, I've always thought about that moment that when you shared that your Nashville flight and how it changed you. And I'm sure you've inspired many, many, many along the way since then. But I think it's for us, like as an outsider listening to it. It does, and I hope it does make everybody pause for a moment and just reflect, just for a moment, just reflect on why we are here today, and just think about that before taking our next breath. I love it because I guess that's the foundation, as you spoke about, foundation of living a purposeful life. Why else live any other kind of life? Why just do something for the sake of it, right? For the sake of it, and tomorrow you're gone, and
Yeah.
and without making any impact, and without having another say, or that person you know did wonders for me, or that person changed my life. Even if it's just one person who remembers you in such a way, then you know that you lived a purposeful life. And I'm Kalim goes legendary. Kalim goes my favorite life ever. Thank you, Kalim. I'm taking those points, Bill. Catherine says, what's Catherine saying? I'm so blessed to have joined this wonderful conversation today. Well, credit goes all to Bill. He's, we've been waiting a while to do this, isn't it, Bill?
We talked about for a long time.
Yeah, and thankfully we've made it happen. Is I'm not sure who this is because it's coming up as LinkedIn user. Bill is gracious when he shares why we need to live for a purpose of life that includes the impact to others. I think it might be Kim. Say I, Kim, if that's you. All right. Quick note that this show is sponsored by Amplifyology, previously known as Repurposed Den, empowering you with the Titan tools to defy obscurity and ignite your brand. You'll also find best bits of this show repurposed into short clips on my channel. Let me share the link with you. It's Spreading Ideas with Amber Khan, the YouTube channel. And if you would like to connect with Bill, I don't know why you're not connected with him, but if you're not connected with him yet, you can find him on LinkedIn at Bill Dolan. That's correct, right, Bill?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And You can find him on his website and download free resources that he's got there at 7drm.com. Yeah, and make sure you follow him on LinkedIn. Yeah, recently I've been loving seeing your posts. You've made a little bit of shift, I think.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, it's hard. I know LinkedIn's a business platform,
Yeah,
but sometimes it's hard. I
yeah.
mean, my heart. I mean, you know me. And so it's in the process that we're all going through. Sometimes I share those reflective things and people get freaked out sometimes because I say love you. And that is the desire of my heart, is to be able to make sure that, look, if this is the last breath I take,
Hmm.
Amber, and I'm looking at all these incredible friends and people that I love kind of popping, and then I see Gene and I see Paul and I look at this and I want people to know that I genuinely love them. I genuinely do. And that has been a product of a lot of introspection and a lot of processing, but it's a kind of process that I'm excited about sharing with others.
Hmm.
And I do have an announcement
Oh, wow, go
that
for
I'm
it.
going to tell you about. Look, I wrote this book, Seven Disciplines, 2 years ago. And in all humility, I'm a TV guy. I'm raised behind the scenes. But when I wrote the Seven Disciplines, it was really that process of walking through with people to create a roadmap to
Hmm.
not only marketing success, but to create a movement in their business and their life and in the world. And I've had so many people say, I've read the book, but I've got so much work to do. I've read the book, but I have a question about this. I've read the book, but so we are going to, in September, we're going to launch the Seven Disciplines roadmap, 90-day roadmap to building your mission manifesto and to transform your marketing. We're going to roll it out in September. And it's a beta test. And so for those people that say, look, I'd like to be a part of that and I'd like to enroll in that, just DM me. We're going to take just a handful of people because we want it to fit really well. And guess what? It's going to be intimate. We're
Hmm.
going to ask a lot of tough questions. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get some quickie little marketing thing, this is not for you. This, this is a gut check. But if it's something you're ready for, we're going to roll this thing out in September, and I'm really excited to share it with the world and hopefully transform lives and continue to transform the world.
Which I'm sure you will, and anybody here would be lucky to work with you, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a transformational experience for them, knowing what you bring to the table, and it is very inspiring. And I wish you all the best with it, and anybody else who can work with Bill. This might be the right opportunity to do so. All right. Now, it is that time of the conversation for us, and you may be thinking, what? Is it gossip time, or share the fun pickup lines time, or tell an embarrassing joke time? Unfortunately, we are not that type of a show. Well, not yet anyway.
Yeah.
But what it is time for is the 48-hour challenge time. So, Bill, what is that one thing that our viewers and listeners can implement in the next 48 hours in regards to relationship marketing or even mission building, as you spoke about?
I really have 3 steps.
Okay.
And it's a step that you're going to find in the book, and there's a worksheet for it as well. But it's something you can do with just a piece of paper, and that is to discover your authentic purpose. Take that time, and if you think you have it, great. Use it as a validation. But if the next 2 days you're able to assess 3 things,
Hmm.
the first thing is be real about your passions. Look inside you and those things that feed you and what are those things that bleed you.
Hmm.
We end up pushing and doing a lot of things that are not feeding our soul, and we're not feeding other people, but we're just going through the motions. Think hard about your passions and
Hmm.
the things that really do feed you. The second thing is make a list of those things for which you have aptitudes. Now, if
Hmm.
you're like a lot of people when you were growing up as a kid, people say, oh, you're good at this, or you're good at this, you're good at this. really think hard about those things in which you are very gifted. And the reason you want those juxtaposition with passion
Mm,
is this. There are people that pursue passions for which they have no aptitude.
mm,
And if you think that's a vocation, that's dangerous,
mm,
because passion without aptitude really is a hobby.
mm,
And when you know that, it allows you to focus on the aptitude side, but
mm,
also be dangerous. That's dangerous too, because an aptitude without passion
mm,
is just a job. And a
mm,
lot of people pursue those aptitudes
mm.
because they get afraid that they're not going to make money.
Yeah, yeah.
But to find that double passion aptitude is key. But the third piece of this is look at your experience. Take that time to reflect in your life. What have you done where you've seen that convergence? What have you done that has not only fed your soul, but fed the lives of others? What are the things that made you smile and maybe you could do all night without sleeping?
Mm,
You are beginning to understand what I call the authentic purpose compass.
mm,
And as you're serious about that process and reflect on that, and then run it against a friend, someone that knows you.
mm,
A lot of times it's like we pray, God, give us a map.
mm,
But I think sitting right in front of you is a compass.
mm.
If you take the time in the next 48 hours to do that, hopefully it's going to give you a level of clarity that you've never had to validate your trajectory or
Mm.
to say it's time to reconsider the direction we're going.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. And I don't think I've heard this before because usually people talk about, okay, make sure you're passionate about it. And then if you're passionate about it, come on, let's start, you can start a business around it. But then you obviously spoke about, okay, well, passion plus aptitude. Otherwise, it's going to be a hobby. You're not going to be able to make money from it. But then you added the experience bit to it as well. It's passion plus aptitude plus experience. That's what makes it come all together. So that is brilliant, and I think that I'm going to do that exercise as well, actually. And it sounds like it's pretty doable in the next 48 hours. What do you think, Bill? It's doable?
I think it's doable. You just have to commit the time.
Yeah,
Take the time, make an appointment. And what I do, don't make it a task.
yeah.
Set an appointment with yourself and someone that you love and trust, then to run it by.
Okay. Okay.
It's a key thing. Honor the process is what we talk about in our
Yeah.
agency. Honor the process. And when you honor the process, it's a way of honoring yourself.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm wondering if this is a great exercise for even team members to do with, like if a leader was to share it with their team and so that they individually do it for themselves and maybe share it with others if they wanted to. Good exercise to get people sort of on board about what they're trying to do, who they're trying to serve.
Oh, it's a incredible one for that. I look at some of the team members we've had in our agency, and one of the things that we've just been really blessed by is we don't ask questions like, "Oh, can you do Excel spreadsheets or can you do design or whatever like that?" That's important to know they have aptitudes around our agency. But I'm always listening to their passion because, and this is the other thing too, if you're a leader for yourself or others,
Hmm.
know that one of the greatest gifts you can give people is to help them realize their destiny, their passion, their aptitudes. Because what you want to do is, I want to make sure if someone works at our agency for decades or they work for just a couple years, I want to make sure the time they spend here is helping them be the best version of themselves and in pouring myself into them by helping them be better leaders, and sometimes just going, you know what? You have a passion for this you didn't realize.
Hmm.
Maybe, because sometimes we all have different environments in which we're raised.
Yeah.
Some of those passions were ridiculed. Like when I was little and I actually said I want to get into television.
Hmm.
Guess what? That was like, are you
Frowned
nuts?
upon. Yeah.
Are you nuts?
Yeah.
I had all kinds of ridicule.
Hmm.
But there's that point at which you say, no, I believe this with my heart and I have aptitude. And sometimes you have to fight the voices of the world, sometimes the voices of well-intended influences in your life, And sometimes you have to fight the voices of the echo chamber inside you, telling you that you can't be this or you can't do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
by doing this process is maybe one step of breaking the lies that we've been telling ourselves,
Yeah.
and to say we can truly honor our authentic purpose and to run with excitement towards the opportunities that are in front of us.
I love that. And I would love to end it there with that. This isn't just about how we can do better individually, how we can make much more in our business. But if we go in with that intention of that, I want to make sure that everybody I am working with, be it team members or clients, that we take them all together on this journey. And how can we help each other rise and get better and become a better version of ourselves? I think that says it all. I'm going to end it there. Bill, thank you so much for joining me today for this wonderful session. I hope everybody who joined us had a wonderful time, and those who may listen to it afterwards. I'm sure they're going to get some amazing nuggets out of this conversation. But for now, thank you so much for joining me, and toodaloo for now.